Hello, hello once again, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Natural20, and this is Fire Emblem Three Houses Crimson Flower Maddening. What a title. We're playing through, we are on Chapter 9, but this is Episode 10 as things go, and I am joined in the commentary booth today by the superstar of LP, the man who is the janitor who deals with all of the ridiculous stuff that we do, the amazing, the incredible, the Fedule.
Hello. Absolutely delighted to be here, folks.
Oh, amazing. So, Fedule, what is your experience with Fire Emblem? What have you done in the series? When did you pick it up? All that kind of stuff.
So it's real on and off stuff, honestly. When I was a dumb idiot teenager, I played Fire Emblem, as I thought it was called, but it turned out to be Fire Emblem 7 for the GBA. And I got a bit into that because I was into Advanced Wars at the time, and I was like, hang on, I'm not really getting this, and I bounced off it hard. I was like, what, this is crap, this is nonsense, I don't like this at all. And at some point in the next 10 years, I had an epiphany and came back to it and actually beat it, and thought, like, yeah, this is pretty good, actually. And then I played the Radiance games, the 9 and 10 on the GameCube, and I thought those were amazing, which you can probably infer from the fact that I decided to make screenshot Let's Plays of them.
Absolutely.
And then I forgot it for ages, and then it died. Fire Emblem is dead, and then Awakening showed up. I was like, hang on, what? And I thought that was okay, but... And then Fates came out, and I completely slept on it because it was a personified identity crisis, so I didn't play that. And then Three Houses came out, and you better believe I played Three Houses. So, on and off.
So you've actually got probably more extensive experience with Fire Emblem than I do, because I infamously started with Awakening and then never played any game before that. So
there is that. But on the other hand, Awakening was the one where Fire Emblem came back, and it wasn't quite the same Fire Emblem that died as the one that came back.
Well, so it implemented...
Technically...
It gave me casual mode, and casual mode is what I needed to get into the franchise, and then I started ratcheting up the difficulty as things went on.
It was a good idea. Like, Awakening was extremely existentially weird, but it wasn't like it brought no new good ideas.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also, it was intended to be the thing with Awakening. If you don't know, is that when they made it, they thought it was going to be the last ever Fire Emblem. So all of the previous ones all had different gimmicks. There was a lot of mechanical variation in Fire Emblem, and a lot of the earlier titles were unique. And in Awakening, they just brought back every single unique gimmick that had ever been in a Fire Emblem, put them all in one game, all at the same time, because they thought they were never going to make another one again. And to their delight/horror, it sold gangbusters, and they were ordered to make another one like it, and, well...
That went incredibly well for them, and I haven't just spent about 10 minutes yelling about how much I hate Fates.
Yeah. This is, like, I described Fates as a Fire Emblem's personified identity crisis, and I stand by that description.
I think that's a good one, yeah.
Three Houses is one attempt to try and resolve all of that nonsense, and it maybe worked?
Three Houses is, in my opinion, a hot mess of a game, but I love it for what it is. I love playing it.
I will agree with the hot mess classification. It's nonsense of a video game. There is so much in it. I have so many conflicting opinions about it. I could write a thesis just trying to figure out what my total opinion of Three Houses is. I could write one of those, like, 4-hour YouTube video essays and still not reach a conclusion.
I would probably be interested in listening to that 4-hour video essay.
Don't encourage me.
Okay, fine. So instead of encouraging you, I'll say let's sit down, watch this episode, and see what we think of what's going on.
Let's go with that.
This month, your class is tasked with guarding the chapel and investigating these intruders. With the recent state of affairs surrounding the Holy Church, we cannot afford to overlook any abnormality, no matter how seemingly trivial.
I am ordering a seasoned knight to assist you to ensure the safety of the students.
Yes, so this opens with some abnormality in the cathedral, or near to it.
At this point, I would think abnormalities are pretty standard.
For duty, Lady Rain.
I'd be more worried if everything was going normally.
I thought you two could
Yeah, that's fair. And the church is somewhat suspicious, given, you know, the Death Knight that's been running around like a lunatic with a scythe.
Yeah, normal.
Geralt has a separate mission of his
Normal
own.
school year,
He will
just
join you once he has
ordinary
finished.
business.
You know, like, it happened at my school as well. There was just some lunatic with a scythe killing the students. That just
When
happens.
I return, I'll
Yeah.
come and watch you work. I'll be looking forward to it.
Geralt is certainly not setting a billion death flags here.
Not even a single one.
After that, I made certain to accompany you wherever you went.
Yeah, so I don't include many supports, but I included Hubert and Edelgard. Yeah.
It's Crimson Flower. You gotta go with the standouts.
Yeah.
The sensation of loss
And
overcame me on that
Edelgard
day
and Hubert
was
is a standout.
It was as horrific as if I'd lost all my limbs. I left the city in a mad rush to rescue you.
The aspirational energy emanating from this man.
Oh,
I'm
God.
off for 3 days, but they
What I love is that Hubert is so metal that at like the age of 12, he fought off soldiers for 3 days.
My favorite thing about Hubert is that, like, most of the time, no matter what kind of tea you serve him, he's just like, I prefer coffee.
Yeah. Yeah, he does.
And who can't relate to that?
respectfully, I decline.
Why? It's a simple order. I really must know.
Speaking of your orders, there was a task you gave me earlier which I have yet to carry out. Excuse me.
Wait just a moment.
Yeah, and he has a backbone as well, which is pretty great.
I just hope he's not hiding anything.
I don't understand how these two managed to have any kind of tension, but my god, they did it.
Yeah, they do. It's great. So here,
I at least persuade you
it turns out Leonie and Lorenz here have unique dialogue when they eat together. I didn't know that.
I've always been intensely curious exactly how many of these there are.
I think every character has at least one with somebody else.
It sounds kind of like it maps to what used to be Fire Emblem supports, because now everyone can support with basically everyone, but
Dance contest between
Yep.
only a select few chosen pairs
My heart just skipped a
get
beat.
unique dinner dialogue.
Me to represent the class?
Ooh, Dorothea Dancer.
Yeah. So this is what I've decided to go with. I've said this in the thread, but I like Dorothea as a dancer a lot because I like having 5% hit aura on my dancer.
For the dance contest?
I like that they named it the White Heron Contest, because I like it whenever anybody remembers that the Radiance games exist. Let's have a remake of those, please. Just give me that. I don't want this new nonsense. Just let me play the Radiance games again. Just keep remaking them until the end of time. I'll be happy.
I love, by the way, that Byleth, the mercenary, trains Dorothea, the opera singer, in how to dance.
How was that? Was my dancing
What did
everything
Geralt teach you growing up?
Who knows?
I enjoyed it.
And when?
I simply must do it again. Soon.
Ah well. Something combat is a dance.
So this is the beginning of what I call Fishageddon 2021.
Oh hell yes.
So in maddening mode,
Bloody hell, you have a lot of bait.
you save up all your bait that you possibly can for this day, because this is the second day in the game where multiple fish get caught with a single catch. And
One
you're-
game, everything.
Yeah, and Professor experience is dictated not by whether you catch a fish, but the kind of fish that you catch. And if you catch multiple fish, you get experience for every fish that you catch.
Just like one session of fishing, and you just get instant tenure.
Well, pretty much.
That's how it works. That's the law.
I went from Professor level B+, right at the bottom there, to Professor level A, just from fishing that much. And this is going to be the fun part. So I started with about 14,000 gold.
And you get the money fish on top of everything else.
Yep. So I sell 40 golden fish, 7 platinum fish, and a single 4 silver fish. And I make 30,000 gold in one day.
Yep. That's it. Empty the treasury, Hector.
So that's actually quite important, because until this point in the game on Maddening, you are gold starved like crazy.
Yeah.
So you need to do the gold missions that show up as part of the DLC to really have a chance.
That's the 5-star money tactician rank in the bag.
Yeah,
That was a joke. We haven't had that since the Game Boy Fire Emblems.
of course.
Which is one of those things. Like I made this reference earlier to how I said Fire Emblem died.
Yeah,
And my honest opinion is it's still dead. There's a shambling imposter wearing its skin,
fair.
and that shambling imposter has got some moves, to be completely fair, but it's not the same.
It's definitely not the same, for sure. Now, this is Flayn and Seteth's personal paralogue, and I cut basically the entire thing because it's one of the easiest paralogues in the game to do. And the only reason I want to comment on it is because it has a training trap here. So this priest is on a regen tile and has renewal, so he will heal 80% of his health every single time.
Fair enough.
Now, the thing is, his only attacking move is Nosferatu, which has limited charges. So what you do is you put like Marianne or a high-res unit in front of him, and then just heal her long enough that he runs out of his charges.
Yep.
And then what you have
It's a
is...
training dummy.
Yeah, then you have a training dummy who regenerates 80% of his health every single time he's on a tile. So you'll see here,
Well,
he uses Nosferatu.
that's the 5-star turn count tactician rank out of the bag. Oh no, wait, we don't have that either.
Yep.
I'm telling you, this would never fly in Hector hard mode.
I probably wouldn't know. And so now I'm just using him to level up the class experience on all my characters. Which is very, very important.
Grinding.
Yeah. So you just...
I don't like maddening. I don't like the new Fire Emblem difficulty paradigm. I don't like how much of this it seems like you have to do to have a chance of it being reasonable. Like, they call me one of them old mumbling, grumbling guys. I don't like it.
So
Sit well with me.
I don't mind this because I think that it requires at least some intelligence to set this up. Whereas there are going to be dumber ones I do later. But I think mainly...
I remember every single mission, how every enemy being as much of a resource as your weapons and items were.
Yeah.
In the Fire Emblem, where the whole point of it is you gotta manage your time. You gotta be efficient. 77 turns, man.
Yeah. You just put in a podcast and smash A over and over again, and it works.
They used to make you find absolutely the most efficient ways to use the resources you have, and yeah, the enemies, the maps, the chapters themselves are just another resource that this game used to make you manage.
Well, so it's similar to like creating archer traps as well in the earlier games, where you'd surround an archer with melee units. It wouldn't be able to attack anything, and then you just chip it away for as much experience as you could physically get. There's stuff like that.
To be clear, I don't think that the old system was perfect. It had a lot of weird foibles. I did not like that they basically hid what the turn count was from you, and technically there were some maps that had a par time of 0. That was really weird. I hate that you kind of needed to use a spreadsheet just to do an optimal run through Hector hard mode, but I like the idea.
Yeah, fair. To be fair, I use a spreadsheet for this as well to keep track of everything. It's mainly to keep track of some of my intended build orders, and also to keep track of events that happen so that I can come back to them and be like, ooh, this was interesting.
Hot lore revelations. Total surprises about Seteth and Flayn.
So...
absolutely nobody could possibly have guessed this.
Well, I mean, like, why is her being his sister so much different? She, like, presumably people would still realize that they look very similar, they're related, and there's probably something up with Seteth.
I mean, That said, I guess this isn't the revelation, although that's not exactly very much more subtle, really.
Not really, no.
They're working at it. They're gonna wait 10 or so more chapters or however long it is in the right route before they finally drop the act here.
We make rather convincing siblings.
Oh.
This game and its plot.
I mean, so I've played through the game, what, 5 times at this? Well, this is my 5th run through.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. And you just see that there's just so much stuff. I've been enjoying the Black Eagles route a lot. Because, the first time I played Black Eagles, and I was completely blind to all the plot, and now there's all this cool stuff in the cutscenes that you see, and you're like, oh, that makes sense.
This game and its plot, I think I have you'll be shocked to learn, a weird multi-part opinion about this game and its plot.
Unsurprisingly, yeah.
It turns out on any given playthrough, I find the plot kind of mediocre. It's not that interesting. But the thing that I absolutely love about specifically Fire Emblem Three Houses is the meta story that comes out looking at all the routes taken together about here's these 3 weirdos who have had country-sized burdens just hoisted on them, thrown into this place. And the one who gets to live is the one who gets to be shown any kind of humanity at all by the dominant teaching influence in their life.
And the most well-adjusted one sometimes gets to live.
The one who gets treated like a human by their professor.
Well, no, so that's true, but Claude survives most of the time. He gets away on the Blue Lions route.
He gets to live, but he still he doesn't really come out of it in great shape.
No, he doesn't succeed, right? It's different. So this is Lorenz's paralogue, by the way.
Oh, I remember this one.
And because, Christ, it's Lorenz. I recruited Lorenz. Oh, he sucks.
Why did it have to be him who gets the really good stuff in the paralogue? Like, why?
Well,
why are you making me be nice to Lorenz?
I have absolutely no respect for this paralogue or Lorenz, so what I'm going to do is this.
Yeah.
You cast March on Leonie, and then she goes over and murders this dude in 1 round.
Who are you? I'd appreciate it if you could just not
yeah,
get in my way.
That's what this deserves. I guess we're far enough into Maddening now that we're actually able to start exerting any kind of influence. The difficulty of proceedings with preparation. We're out of the shock and awe introduction, where it's a struggle every turn to stay alive.
Oh, absolutely. We're well out of that. And I'll get into it a little bit later when we get to the actual chapter, I think. Because there's stuff to explain about why that happens the way that it does, beyond, like, you just get units with builds.
See, that's the thing. I have a bone to pick with you.
Oh, really?
So in an earlier video, possibly even the first video, I forget honestly, you specifically describe playing this game on its hardest difficulty as being more an art than a science.
Yes, I do.
And I respectfully beg to differ. Because Fire Emblem, admittedly less so in the modern post-Awakening days than the previous days, has always been a game about the absolute minutiae of unit positioning, where you take the enemy movement range and you put the one guy here and the other guy here and you get it exactly set up so that the AI does exactly what you want. The one way to arrange things so that your one squishy unit cannot possibly be attacked and 1 round KO'd. It's the most minute stuff.
So, the reason I describe Three Houses that way is because, firstly, you've got Divine Pulse. So, you can afford to be a little bit more inexact if you want to save a little bit of time, which is what I tend to do.
It was a necessary introduction of a new mechanic to the series.
So,
whenever it was exactly that they did that.
They did it with Miller's Turnwheel, I think, for the remake of Shadows of Valentia.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And then they brought it back for this. And I think it's one of the better mechanics that they've come up with, because it is one where if you make a mistake, on like classic, you are punished for making that mistake because you burn a resource, right? And if you make too many mistakes, you start losing units, and that's
And
good.
you've got to restart. You restart a whole map, and that might be like half an hour or an hour of stuff.
Yeah,
You gotta have some leeway.
yeah, and I like
That's good. I don't think it makes it less of a science just because you have a little bit of affordance to be inexact. It just means you get to correct things. You get to nudge the course rather
maybe.
than game the whole thing out in advance.
So I was talking with some people on the Fire Emblem Discord, and they were like, and I was like, so I just tend to put, a sword unit in front of an axe unit, and then that to me is what I need to do, and that's it, right? And I'll maybe look at the damage that they deal. Whereas a lot of them who played the older games were like, well, we calculate crit chance. And I'm like, I don't do that at all, right?
Oh yeah, this is one of the Fire Emblem is dead talking points, really. It used to be the case that like Fire Emblem was many things, but it was very straightforward.
Hold on.
Like, there were the 8 stats, there were a handful of skills.
Why isn't Claude gay? Why?
That too. I don't have an answer for that. That's not a game mechanics question. I can't help you with this.
Oh, it makes me sad. Okay, carry on.
But yeah, there were the 8 stats. They are what they were. It was strength minus defense, and it was like double skill plus your weapon hit, and it was 2 speed plus double speed plus luck for a void or all the good stuff.
Yep.
Nothing in particular.
And you could take any 2 units on the map, and you could just game the combat in your head. You can say, look, if this guy and this guy fight, here's what will happen, and it will hash out to a hit chance, a crit chance, and an amount of damage, and whether or not there be a double, and that's it. But now they've added so much complexity to how combat works. So you've got the 8 stats, and you've got the top secret knife stat that does gambit stuff, and you've got your battalions. You've got the battalion's gambit. You've not only got a weapon, but you've also got an accessory. You've got a million billion little interactions with like the people surrounding you and the terrain on the map, and you've got the personal skills, you've got the class skills, and you've got the 5 custom equipable skills, and it's too much shit.
Yeah, that's fair.
You can't just glance this anymore.
So, for this, I just let the dice roll on who I got on the Goddess Tower, and unsurprisingly, I got Edelgard.
Yeah. You get the house leader when you don't. You don't be too careful about stuff.
Yeah, and I definitely haven't been careful at all. I've just been like, kill things. It's fine.
I mean, I can see how that might endear you to her. Oh, God, discourse alert.
But I quite like this narratively, at least, because especially for Crimson Flower, this is an important part of like kind of revealing more of the humanity that Edelgard has.
Byleth, on the other hand, is just even more of a cipher than previously.
I liked when the Avatar character had a personality. That was fun.
Yeah.
I liked Robin.
Unfortunately, my unit was one of the gimmicks that was brought back for it. Like, it was in Fire Emblem 12, actually, when they first started doing this. It was the newest of the gimmicks that they brought back for Awakening. And the irony was that, like, Robin had managed to still have a pretty, like, solid personality on top of being the Avatar unit.
Yep.
Like, Robin got stuff done. Robin was kind of like Claude, except, like, actually successful at scheming.
Yes, exactly. It's a really good description. So what I say about Awakening a lot of the time is that, Robin I can tell is his own character because I don't identify with him. And I can't cipher myself onto him very, very easily because he's very different to me. And so, he's got his own personality. And then it gets to Corrin, who has even less of a personality, and then Byleth, who is just a mute. And you're like, well, fair enough.
And in the previous games, you had there was the Lord, and that was going to be your main character, and that was who you got, and you would like it.
Yeah.
But like, even they got to be characters. They got their arcs. They got their personalities. They were written. and the dynamics were what they were, and sometimes they worked.
I am Ferdinand von Ayer.
Everyone likes Ike still.
As you wish.
Yeah, Ike is very popular. I don't know why, really, other than he's in Smash, but I presume there's a good reason from the game.
I mean, the joke with Ike was that, like, it was the first time in all of Fire Emblem history that your main protagonist was not just, like, some noble with implausible sword skills.
Yeah.
He was, like, a guy who was, like, he was a mercenary. And he rolled around with other mercenaries, and he was just some guy who was good at fighting. And in most Fire Emblems, you get partway through the game, and your lord meets God or something and gets their plot promotion, and they get their shiny new armor. And in Fire Emblem 9, you roll it into the theocratic capital of the world, and the Empress says, "Yeah, you're a noble now," and that's your plot promotion, and he becomes a lord.
Oh, fair enough.
That's the joke. It was very funny. I giggled.
I like that. I should probably give it a look at some point. I say that. I hate... I'd have to use save states, and then I'd hate myself.
That's fair. It's a fine game. It's just that, you know, it was Fire Emblem's big transition into home consoles, 3D,
Yeah.
like actual animation stuff. Like I will not defend its graphics. They weren't good, because Fire Emblem used to have like the most top tier sprite work in pretty much all of video games at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then they moved it onto these 3D models, and they weren't the same. They never managed to recapture that again. Like, Three Houses has got a lot of stuff going on, and even that, it's like, there's some decent animation work in this game. Like, I don't disrespect it. But then I go and I just look up something on Serena's Forest or something, and I just see one of the crit animations for like the Swordmaster or like the General or the Berserker or something from the GBA guys. I'm like, those sprites were art.
Well, even the Awakening and Fates models, like, you know, the lethality art for that is awesome, because it just cuts to like a silhouette of exactly what's happening, and it's incredible.
They found ways to stylize it.
Yeah. Well, they don't do that really here. You just get like, you know, the character floats around and does a crit, and it's like, okay, I guess.
They have the technology that they can do this. You know, you're not going to call it realistic, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Where
Absolutely.
it's a lot less abstract, and they get to do this, like pretending that not even pretending really. They get to have the cutaway animations and the overhead animations be the same stuff, and it looks pretty cool. But
so for this mission, this is one of the easiest missions in the game, I'm not gonna lie. From a story perspective, you've got 6 monstrous creatures to fight. You have 1 billion gambits at this point, and because you've suddenly got Paralog access, you have a bunch more experience than you used to, right? And you've got good battalions, like you've got everything you need.
So this chapter is just a crafting material vending machine, really.
Yeah, pretty much. And it's like, it's a nice break, right? Because you've had quite an intense time playing the game before that. And now you get to have a bit of a chill out, which is nice.
I guess it's one of those things where they tune things just right, so you reach this point and you're like, yeah, I'm getting used to this. Things are looking up, starting to feel a little bit optimistic.
Yeah. Also that Edelgard level with +1 on everything apart from HP.
It's a beauty.
Love to see it happen though.
I don't know when they started doing this. I think it was in Radiant Dawn.
Mm-hmm.
In Radiant Dawn, they started juking the level up process so that you would always get at least +1 in something.
So students in Three Houses can get a minimum of +1, like 2 +1s. But the faculty can get nothing in theory as well.
Fascinating.
Yeah, I don't know why that distinction's there, but it is.
Like, there's the basis for a lot of attention to detail, or at least just for a lot of detail, at least, in this kind of stuff. But yeah, that seems weirdly...
It's very specific, and I've got no idea why. Assassin Felix there is doing work.
Yeah. Assassins.
So, I'm going to be in a little bit of an awkward spot with some of the students here, where some of them are level 20 but unpromoted at the moment, and I don't want them to level up while they're unpromoted. And others are...
The classic.
Yeah. And others are like level 18 and level 19, and if I don't get them to 20 this mission, I won't have them as promoted units for the paralogs I'm going to be doing later on. So this has been about extracting as much experience as I can from individual mobs as possible. So what I try and do here is I'm like, well...
Fire Emblem.
Well, what I'm trying to do here is I see Lysithea can kill this guy, and I'm like, hold on. If I can get her to heal twice, then I'll be able to level up Lysithea and get somebody else to get the kill from this.
Yes. Yes.
So that's my plan,
Optimize.
right? That's my plan here. So I walk up to Geralt, I'll heal him. And I'm like, I'm aware that Geralt can probably move to this enemy. So what I do is I try and block the path somewhat.
The classic Fire Emblem positioning minutiae.
Exactly.
The AI is always against you, even when it's the friendly AI. You do the math. You figure out the one place where you can put everybody to stop the AI from screwing you.
Yeah, so the concern here is obviously that this enemy goes for someone and kills them. The problem is that he moves forward one step to attack Marianne. I don't know why he does this, but he does. At which point Geralt runs in and swoops in and gets the kill.
The AI.
and I can't rewind because it's the last one of the mission.
Over.
Yeah, the mission's done.
The absolute most classic Fire Emblem AI complaint observation is that it always feels like the AI is fighting against you, the player, rather than it like taking control of the enemy army to win on the enemy army's terms.
Well,
it's an ancient conundrum.
Geralt stole my kill, and now he's going to pay the penalty.
God damn you, Geralt.
Exactly. You're getting exactly what you deserve, you kill-stealing dick.
Thanks for all your help, sir.
So, like, this is a point where I have to wonder, like, are they trying to deliberately channel a tiny bit of the Fire Emblem 9 plot here? Because, it's like, you got the mercenary, you got the mercenary's son, and you got the mercenary getting ganked by this random person. Although, you know, let's not even begin comparing Monica to the Black Knight. That's not happening. But
Different
that
things.
aside,
so they planned around Byleth reversing time.
What are you doing here?
You must survive.
merely
because there is
Which I quite like. This never comes up again.
Yep. That's what I mean about the plot of this game. There's so much stuff, and it's just like, even if you play everything, there's so many things that they get brought up, and yeah, that seems pretty cool, and it never goes anywhere. And a lot of the individual plots on their own are just like, very much a yep, and that was it, and that was the end, and none of this got resolved.
So, I know that the explanation, this is obviously an explanation for Divine Pulse, but I know early in development, I mentioned this before on the LP, the intent was that Edelgard would be able to stop you from reversing time, which I thought was very, very cool as an idea, because she has the Crest of Flames as well.
Yeah, I remember you were saying that.
Yeah,
but
and
nothing comes of that.
Nope. Well, they decided to get rid of it because they thought it would be unfair to the player.
That sounds like cowardice. They could have found a way to make it interesting.
Yeah, I think they could have found a way to have it in because I think it would be really cool.
They could have had your army, they fight her army, and then you can use Divine Pulse when you make a fuck up. So you go and you saunter your guys over there, and one of them you set up your gambit and you gank her, and then she uses Divine Pulse and rearranges things.
Well, so what I probably would have done if I just had the ability to do that is I'd have like maybe the final two maps of Blue Lions be you versus Edelgard first one, you beat her, then she reverses times, resets all her unit positions, and then the next chapter is the next version of the map, except even harder because you just beat her and she reversed time to deal with it.
And on maddening difficulty, you can give her a gimmick where she can do the same kind of bullshit that you can use to kill the Death Knight in Chapter 4.
Oh yeah, sure, that'll be fine as well.
My hand to God, I have managed to kill him by doing a turn, seeing him like gank somebody with an inevitable like long range counterattack crit, and then manipulate the RNG to literally steal his crit from him and use it against him.
Be cool, wouldn't it? I do that a lot actually for this. Once I'm confident I've got divine pulse charges to spare, I'll start spending them on getting crits and things like that as well to make things easier.
RNG is one way in which Fire Emblem has absolutely not changed. I think you were saying in possibly a different earlier video about the seeded queue of random numbers that you can manipulate, and you divine pulse and you can do something else to burn random numbers.
Yep.
The Game Boy Advance games had an identical system.
Oh, there you go.
And the best part of it was that if you move the cursor around in a circle, sometimes you can create a situation where the game actually needs to burn random numbers from the queue to decide what path
Oh, wow.
to make. So you could use that to burn through random numbers.
That's incredible.
And it's amazing.
So yes, we get Geralt's diarrhea now, which is actually pretty illuminating as this game goes.
We're kind of talking over the pathos here. Very sorry.
Oh, he stole a kill. He deserves no pathos, right? I'm not upset. Byleth probably isn't upset. I mean, he cried a bit, but you know. That's probably just Sothis being sad, not Byleth.
Yeah. That's just canon.
Yeah.
Nobody feels anything. Just a lot of absolute nothing. My child is a robot. That's almost like a straight interpretation of canon.
Exactly. Super easy.
Why is this game so weird?
Day 8 of the Wyvern Moon.
I have no idea. It's just the way that it is.
Like 50 million really interesting directions they could have taken this that were to make a plot out of. Like that's the thing. That's the thing. This game is written like it's a 200-hour JRPG.
Yep.
But they have this plot that only really comes into anything resembling a focus if you replay it a bunch of times, and the structure, the shifting narrative structure isn't that interesting, and they keep leaning on the incredible complexity of the video game that you play, but that part doesn't impart any impact on the narrative. That's all just a couple of very straight choices that you make, and there's like 2 of them. And that's such a weird mismatch, and in the meantime they've got all these plots with all these threads, and sometimes on any given playthrough some of them go somewhere and some of them don't, and why? It's so weird. This game is so weird.
That's what happens when you run out of time.
Why are they like this?
The Insys are incredibly ambitious, probably too ambitious for what they want to do, and yet I would much rather have them be this ambitious than be safe. I think, anyway.
Like, ever since... like, Awakening didn't have any really big branches. It was kind of non-linear, though, but... Then they decided that Fate was going to do the identity crisis thing.
Absolutely,
and they
yes.
built this whole thing around the choice, and they're like, you can take it this way or that way, and then for whatever hell reason, they decided to have the secret third one, which I don't even know where to begin with that, but I guess they just decided that their gimmick was going to be you side with one of the big factions and you take the plot in a direction.
It's because Fates makes no sense without Revelation, and Revelation also makes no sense, so enjoy Fates, I guess.
Please rest and focus.
Meanwhile, in the good old days, here was Ike and here was Ike's friends, and they went on a journey.
That's it.
And they fought these guys, and there were other factions, and sometimes he played as the other factions, and it was all... Why can't we have that?
Because it's a new world and a new Fire Emblem, and we've got to the end of the episode where people are sad after I demolished that mission and Geralt got killed for kill stealing. got booted by the server admin for being a dick, and there you go. That was chapter 9. It's an interesting chapter. It's probably, to me, one of the most boring chapters in Maddening because the final chapter isn't very hard, and you have to fish for 2 hours.
Yeah,
and there's a fair bit of grinding as well.
There is that.
So I'm not a huge fan of chapter 9.
It's all in the name of power gaming, right?
Well, it's in the name of giving units the best representation I can in this game. I quite like power gaming in some ways, but also like I probably wouldn't do this now. Or like if I was doing a 3rd playthrough of Maddening, I wouldn't do it anymore because I don't think I need it. And it'd be interesting to try it without grinding this class experience. But on the other hand, what this LP
go for that 5-star tactician rank.
Well, what this LP is about is showing you the, I'd say, easiest way of getting Sothis sitting on the throne at the end of the game, basically, and getting that new title screen for everyone. And I think this is the way to play Maddening if you want it to be a relatively pleasant experience. And so there you go. And that is the end of us this week. So Fidel, thank you very, very much for joining us.
Yeah, been a pleasure.
Been an absolute pleasure to have you. I hope to have you back again at some point in the future. And I'm sure the audience will as well. So with that, thank you all very, very much for watching. And we will catch you all next time.
Bye.